everyone, it's Kim and welcome back to Bookmarks and Breadsticks. Welcome back to Bookmarks and Breadsticks. My name is Kim and I love to focus on the world of food writing. I predominantly read and review food nonfiction books, including chefs' memoirs, the world history of a certain item like the cod or mushrooms or ice cream, and anything in between. And I am here today to bring you my summer wrap up. So I haven't done a book haul in a couple of months. I've been trying to keep all of my summer books together and also kind of keep them under control. On average, I read about 7 books a month, so I was trying to see if I could keep my book haul under 21 books for the summer, and I think I have 17 behind me. So close! I met my goal. It is also August 13th, so I know I'm technically halfway through the month, but next weekend is Meat Feast, a big event where I host tons of my old college friends, and we have a huge party. This year we're focusing on pig and cooking tons of different pork-related dishes. So I'm trying to pre-film a bunch of content, I'll be totally honest with you. I'm also taking off on a plane Monday morning to fly for work, so lots of stuff going on, time to book some content. And I do know I have one pre-ordered book that I now realize I have 2 of, and that's the only other book I anticipate coming this month. So why don't I start there? Like I mentioned, I accidentally pre-ordered a book twice, and that is Kosher Soul. This is Michael Twitty's new book that comes out in August. And if you don't know who Michael Twitty is, he is the James Beard Award-winning author for the book The Cooking Gene, and this is his new book. I realize now that I pre-ordered it from 2 independent bookstores, so I guess that's awesome. Maybe I'll do a giveaway for the second book. Or maybe I'll list it on Pango. It's brand new. Let me read the inside cover for you for Kosher Soul. This book has been on my anticipated reads list for 2 quarters in a row because I am just so excited and really hope people pick up this book because I love Michael Twitty. In Kosher Soul, culinary historian and James Beard Award-winning author Michael Twitty considers a marriage of 2 of the most distinct culinary cultures of the world today, the foods and traditions of the African Atlantic and the global Jewish diaspora. The creation of African Jewish cooking is a conversation of migrations and a dialogue of diasporas offering a rich background for inventive recipes and the people who created them. Yet, the question that most intrigues Twitty is not who makes the food, but how the food makes the people. Jews of color are not outliers, but significant and meaningful cultural creators in both Black and Jewish communities. In recounting his own passage to and within Judaism, Twitty explores how food has shaped the journeys of numerous cooks. An intimate, thought-provoking, and profound as The Cooking Gene, this timely, remarkable food memoir teases the sense as it offers sustenance for the soul. I am so excited for this book. I am so excited. He also has a blog, Afro Culinaria, and it's the first blog devoted to African-American historical foodways and their legacies. He wrote The Cooking Gene in 2018. And I mean, honestly, oh my God, there's so many awards on his back jacket cover. And he was named by Forward's list of influential American Jews in 2020 and National Geographic Emerging Explorer in 2021. I just cannot wait. I bought one version, I think, on bookshop.org to support open books in Chicago. And then I bought another copy from Kitchen and Letter Arts NYC. Neither of which are autographed, which is kind of a bummer. There was supposed to be a book signing in Kitchen and Letter Arts, and something happened, which I get it, stuff happens. Hopefully I'll get a book plate or something, but either way, I have 2 brand new hardcovers of this book, and I am so excited. I might honestly just start reading it this month. I know I have hundreds of books behind me I need to read, but I really have been waiting so long and love Twitty's voice. Oh, maybe I can get it on an audiobook so that when I'm flying and going through the airport, I can listen to it. I'm going to look this up tonight. Before I jump into the nonfiction part of the book haul, I do have 3 fiction books. One is Booked on a Feeling. This is J.C. Lee's new book that came out in July, and it is Korean American, childhood friends to lovers. I enjoyed it. I have a whole review on this book coming. I've already finished it. I won this arc from Sophia on Instagram. She has a great channel about a wine book club. Next up, I have Ramon and Julieta by Alana Quintana Albertson. This is Love and Tacos. I don't know how else to rival enemies to lovers, different taquerias. Next fiction book on this list is The Bartender's Cure by Wesley Stratton. I have actually never heard of this book and saw it on Open Book's website and just was really intrigued. Let me read some of the inside cover for you. Samantha Fisher definitely does not want to be a bartender, but after a breakup and a breakdown in San Francisco, she decides to defer law school for a year to move to New York, crashing on her best friend's couch. When she's offered a job at Joe's Apothecary, a beloved neighborhood bar in Brooklyn, she tells herself it's only temporary. As Sam learns more about bartending and gets to know the service industry lifers and loyal regulars at Joe's, she's increasingly seduced by her new job. She finds acceptance in her tight-knit community and even begins a new relationship. But as the year draws to a close, Sam is pulled between the life she thought she wanted and the possibility of a different kind of future. When destructive cycles from her past threaten to consume her again, Sam must decide how much she's willing to let go to finally belong. There's also cocktail recipes and bartending tricks in this book. This is a 2022 release. I had no idea. I just got it on Open Book's website for Open Book sells used books. They sometimes buy new books, but I got it for $12.50 instead of full price. It's a hardcover book, so I'm super, super excited. Next up in the pile are 3 new 2022 releases that I hauled this summer. One is The Biscuit by Lizzie Collingham. So I learned about The Biscuit through the podcast Gastropod, which if you haven't listened to, Gastropod is a podcast that focuses on If you haven't heard of Gastropod, it is a culinary podcast that focuses on food through the lens of science and history. I get tons of great book recommendations from them. I'm a Patreon supporter. I have always loved what Cynthia and Nicola Twilley do together. I love their podcast. So Biscuit is just what it sounds. It is all about the history of a biscuit. Bonbons, custard creams, rich tea, jammy Dodgers, chocolate digestives, shortbreads, ginger snaps. Which is your favorite? It is super cute. It's a little bit shorter in terms of size, like if I can put a book up next to it. I'm very excited. There's some really fun pictures of old school advertisements about biscuits, if you can see that. And yeah, I'm really excited to learn all about the biscuit, the history of a very British indulgence. I should mention I got The Biscuit from Omnivore Books out on the West Coast. That's another culinary bookstore that I love to support. The next book was so graciously sent to me from the University of North Carolina Press, and this is Grain and Fire by Rebecca Sharpless, A History of Baking in the American South. So this book came out over the summer. This is a final copy. While a luscious layer cake may exemplify the towering glory of the Southern baking, like everything about the American South, baking is far more complicated than it seems. Rebecca Sharpless here weaves a brilliant chronicle, vast in the perspective and entertaining in detail, revealing how 3 global food traditions, Indigenous American, European, and African, collided with and merged in the economies, cultures, and foodways in the South to create what we know as Southern baking tradition. Recognizing that sentiments around the Southern baking runs deep, Sharpless takes delight in defeating and deflating stereotypes as she delves into the surprising realities underlying the creation and consumption of baked goods. People who controlled the food supply in the South used baking to reinforce their power and make social distinctions. Who used white cornmeal and who used yellow? Who put sugar in their cornbread and who did not have traditional meanings for the Southerners, as did the portions of flour, fat, and liquid in biscuits. By the 20th century, however, the popularity of convenience foods and mixes exploded in the region, as it did nationwide. Still, while some regional distinctions have waned, baking in the South continues to be a remarkable and remarkably tasty source of identity and entrepreneurship. Rebecca Sharpless does have another book as well. It is called Cooking in Other Women's Kitchens, Domestic Workers in the South from 1865 to 1960. So that's pretty exciting. She's a professor of history at Texan Christian University. So again, this is a new release that the publisher sent to me. Thank you, North Carolina, the University of Press of North Carolina. Next up is just a brand new book I saw in Barnes & Nobles and completely impulse buyed. I hardly ever buy books in Barnes & Nobles anymore. I've shown a lot of restraint the last couple of months, but this book just called out to me, and it's What a Mushroom Lives For, Matsutake and the Worlds They Make by Michael J. Hathaway. First off, look at how cool this cover is. It is just so pretty. and it really just jumped out to me on the shelves. And I mean, they're making really big claims on the back, like "Move Over, Michael Pollan," which makes me very excited to read this book. How the prized matsutake mushroom is remaking human communities in China and providing new ways to understand human and more human worlds. I read quite a few books last year about mushrooms. I read a book about truffles this year, and I am just super obsessed with this space. I think because we know so little about this kind of food and creature, and mycelium in general. I know an offshoot product of mycelium is mushrooms. What a Mushroom Lives For pushes today's mushroom renaissance in compelling new directions. For centuries, Western science has promoted a human and animal-centric framework that counts as action, agency, movement, and behavior. But, as Michael Hathaway shows, the world-making capacities of mushrooms radically challenge this orthodoxy by revealing the lively dynamicism of all forms of life. The book tells the fascinating story of one particularly prized species, the matsutake, and the astonishing ways it is silently yet powerfully shaping worlds. From the Tibetan plateau to the mushroom's final destination in Japan, many Tibetan and Yi people have dedicated their lives to picking and selling this mushroom, a delicacy that drives a multi-billion-dollar global trade network and still grows only in the wild, despite scientists' intensive efforts to cultivate it in urban labs. But this is far from a simple story of humans exploiting a passive edible commodity. Rather, the book reveals the complex symbiotic ways that mushrooms, plants, humans, and other animals interact, and it explores how the world looks at the mushroom, as well as the people who have grown super rich harvesting them. A surprise-filled journey into science and human culture, this exciting and provocative book shows how fungi shape our planet and our lives in strange, diverse, and often unimaginable ways. I am so excited. I've also never heard of this author before, and that's always exciting for me to find new writers. You can argue that this falls under nature writing. I think because it's going to also talk about the business and trade, it's also considered food writing. Take it as you will. It is found in nature, but to me it is also food writing. So this third pile is the remaining pile of my summer book haul. I would say of the 17 books that you've seen, only 3 were purchased at full price. 1 I won from a giveaway, and a 5th I did receive as a finished copy, which was the Grain and Fire book. So the remaining books, and some of even the fiction books you saw, are used books. I want to also continue to promote, you can buy used books in great quality. I mean, this is a brand new hardcover book that I got for $9.50. Don't be afraid to look for used books, whether you shop through Pango, which I have a Pango shop down below, or use someone like Open Book Chicago, which only predominantly sells used books and ships nationwide. So I just found a whole other pile of books that I forgot are part of this haul. So now we're going to go back to more 2022 new releases. And I have Margot and Kelly's Foodtopia, Communities in Pursuit of Peace, Love, and Homegrown Food. I actually got this on my family vacation while visiting Bird Books in Bethel, Connecticut. I didn't really vlog that vacation. I just wanted to take time for myself and my family, but of course we went to an independent bookstore, and of course I picked up a book on my vacation. Another 2022 book that came from the University of North Carolina Press, thank you again for sending me another finished copy, is Eating While Black, Food Shaming and Race in America by Psyche A. Williams-Forson. I have had this on my anticipated reads list as well, and I am very excited, especially after I've had this on my anticipated reads list for 2 quarters now, and especially after reading the book, Getting Something to Eat in Jackson, I'm excited to continue to do my research and understand more about food apartheid and food scarcity in America, and I think Eating While Black will be a great book to add to my repertoire. And the final book, which you have seen on my channel in my video, 15 Books About Fish, is The Blue Revolution, Hunting, Harvesting, and Farming Seafood in the Information Age. And this is all about new sustainable farming practices in the world of fishing in the new century. And this is also a new 22 release. It came out in May. I really love the cover. I'm super excited for this. This has been the year of fish for me in this channel, it seems. I haven't reviewed as many books about fish, but I've been reading a lot of books about fish. Okay, now this final pile is all of the used books that I have purchased this month. as my books are falling behind me. Okay, this is the final pile for real this time of new books I have hauled this summer. Predominantly, this pile is almost all used books, except for I think one that I got in my book club through Kitchen and Letter Arts. So in the summer, actually twice a year, Kitchen and Letter Arts has an online book club for food writing books. This summer, I had already owned and read 2 of the books on the list. So Kitchen and Letter Arts allowed me to swap out for 2 different books. One of those books was Stalin's Wine Cellar. The other, which I did in a different book haul, is Russ and Daughters, which is up there somewhere behind me. So this is technically a brand new book because I opted into the book club. Okay, these last couple, because I'm not quite sure how long this video is at this point for this summer book haul, we'll see how fast I can do this, is A Spirited Guide to Vermouth, an aromatic journey with botanical notes, classic cocktails, and elegant recipes by Jack Adair Bevan. This is a fairly new book that I got in June. I got it used, and it is, I don't know a lot about vermouth. I don't drink, so I also find vermouth makes me think of like old stuffy people, which is unfair because even based on this cover alone, which is beautiful, I want to know more. In A Spirited Guide to Vermouth, Jack Adair Bevan celebrates this versatile drink and its botanicals, drawing out vermouth's history and its delicate herbal flavors with recipes for cocktails and some food to accompany them. Next up is Future Foods, How Modern Science is Transforming the Way We Eat by David Julian McClements. This is a book that's been on my radar for a little while, and it is about modern science and food ag tech. I read quite a few food ag tech books at the beginning of this year, and I'm working on compiling a list for you guys of future food books, we'll call it. This book is going to focus about the rapid technology that's being used to develop new food. Think of things even like Beyond Meat or the Just Company, Just Mayo, Just Egg. I think the future of food is going to be a mix of things built naturally, mass farming, and also now things that can be actually built or grown in a laboratory. The next one up just makes me so happy because I love Simon Majumdar, and this is Fed, White, and Blue, Finding America with My Fork. This is a newer book, a newer cover because Alton Brown does the foreword, and it says Alton Brown is the creator of Good Eats and Cutthroat Kitchen. If you guys didn't know, I actually did a whole review about the evolution of Iron Chef and mentioned the important role of Alton Brown. So for Alton to forward it, I think is pretty cool. I love Simon Majumdar, and Dan and I are actually currently reading Eat My Globe, which is his first book, and we have just had such a good time reading it out loud to each other that I am stoked to get more of Simon Majumdar's books. Next up is Federal Donuts, a partially true spectacular story by Mike Solomonov and Stephen Cook, and a couple other authors as well. So now I don't know about Federal Donuts, but apparently it's a well-known bakery, and the spring 2023 Read It and Eat box will be donut themed. So I'm going to read and see if this is the book I want to include. Going forward in 2023, I do think I'm going to have 2 different options for Read It and Eat, where you can pick a nonfiction book or a fiction book about donuts so you have options. Let me know if that is a good idea. I don't say let me know if it's a good idea because I'm probably going to do it either way. But what do you guys think about that? Because there's actually quite a few rom-coms that came out in 2022 about donuts, like Donut Fall in Love, and I think it's a fun way to expand Read It and Eat, because I do want you to learn about food, but not everyone wants sometimes to read the nonfiction book, but they do want the food and the donut kit inside, which this box is going to have a whole donut, like even the donut tin to make your own donuts. So let me know, would you ever try a Read It and Eat box that was only culinary romances, like kitchen romances? So you'd get a box every quarter with food-related items, still from small businesses who are still fighting hunger with a donation, but instead of nonfiction, you have the option to swap in for a foodie romance. Let me know in comments below. Who knows? Next up, we have the $64 tomato, how one man nearly lost his sanity, spent a fortune, and endured an existential crisis in the quest for the perfect garden by William Alexander. This book has been floating around for years, and after reading Barry Estabrook's book, Tomatoland, I wanted to learn more about tomatoes and how they're grown, not only in the United States, but also globally. Next up is a book with a cover I did not think it was going to look this way, Pretty Good Number 1, An American Family Eats in Tokyo by Matthew Amster Burton. This is about a family who moves to Tokyo. Everyone knows how to live the good life in Paris, Provence, or Tuscany. Now, Matthew Amster Burton makes you fall in love with Tokyo. Experience this exciting and misunderstood city through the eyes of 3 Americans vacationing in a tiny Tokyo apartment. Follow 8-year-old Iris on a solo errand to the world's greatest supermarket, picnic on the bullet train, and eat a staggering array of great, inexpensive foods from eel to udon. The humorous travel memoir is a humorous travel memoir in the tradition of Peter Mayle and Bill Bryson. Pretty Good Number 1 is the next best thing to a ticket to Tokyo. I don't know if the whole book is going to be from his 8-year-old's perspective entirely, but I'm still excited to learn more about it. For my honeymoon, Dan and I were supposed to go to Tokyo. Tokyo still really hasn't opened up amidst the pandemic, which is totally fair and valid. But one day we will go to Tokyo. And until then, I'm going to read books about Americans in Tokyo because I find it relatable. Next up is Eating Asian American. This is an editorial. There's quite a few different essays in this book. It's a big book. If you look at like the size, it feels almost like a magazine, but it's a reader. I think the collections are called readers. Chop suey, sushi, curry, adobo, kimchi. The deep associations Asians in the United States have with food have become ingrained in the American popular imagination. So much so that contentious notions of ethnic authenticity and authority are marked by and argued around images and ideas of food. Eating Asian American, a food studies reader, collects burgeoning new scholarship in Asian American studies that centers on the study of foodways and culinary practices in our own understanding in the radicalized underpinnings of Asian Americanness. It does so by bringing together 20 scholars from across the disciplinary spectrum to inaugurate a new turn in food studies. So this is a really exciting one for me. I love food studies. That is another subgenre of nonfiction. What I like about this is there are different authors, because there are, wow, I just read it, 20 different authors. I more than likely could just pick an essay and then put it down. It's anthologies, which I have my anthology section right here. So I think I'm going to shelve that book right under it. So when I'm in the mood for an anthology, I can just pick this up. Also, sriracha. I just wanted to say sriracha. And the final book of my summer book haul is Out of the Doghouse by Duck Portillo. That doesn't say duck, that says Dick. Dick Portillo, turning a $1,100 investment into a $1 billion profit. If you don't know Portillo hot dogs are iconic to Chicago. It is a humble beginnings kind of story, and I am very, very excited to read this. This is definitely an older book. It's probably going to be more of an autobiography than anything else, but I did love learning about the Coney Island family and Nathan's hot dogs. So I'm excited. Apparently there are more hot dog family stories than I thought in this country, but that's, I guess, what makes America pretty cool. So I've read Nathan's Hot Dogs. I actually read that with Danny on her. We buddy read that together. So now I have another one about hot dogs. And I lied again. I'm back with one final book that is It Sounds Like This by Anna Muriano. Thank you, Penguin Teen, for sending this to me. This is a new book. Sorry, it's a finished copy of a new book that came out this summer. And it is all about this freshman who ends up somehow involved with the marching band. When I was in high school, I was proudly in the marching band. I was in Music Honor Society. I actually played the French horn, which if you look is right here on the cover. To be clear, in marching bands, though, usually you have a mellophone, which is the adaptation of a French horn for a marching band setting. It actually has a bigger bell and looks more like a trumpet. It normally would look more like a trumpet, but with a bigger bell and a little bit thicker. You don't normally march with a French horn because a French horn, you actually, when you sit, you're actually turned. So marching in place like this would probably look a little strange. So thank you again, Penguin Teen, for sending this to me. I'm super excited. This one is already out on shelves. but I need to get on this and read this soon. All in all, I think that makes 20 books. Let me count. So all in all, this actually makes 20 books for my summer book haul for June, July, and August, averaging 7 reads a month. Basically I'm gonna break even. Technically, if I read 21 books, I'm down 1 book on this never-ending TBR behind me, but who are we kidding? But I have just decided that I'm probably gonna own more books than I can read in my entire life, and that's okay. Let me know in the comments below which books you're most excited to see on this list. Which do you think I should vlog, or do you want a full review of? I'm definitely gonna read Kosher Soul and have a video whether y'all like it or not, just because I'm so excited about that book. I do want you to like it. I do hope you watch the vlog and enjoy it. But I'm just so excited. Let me know again in the comments below. I will have links to all of these books down below as well through bookshop.org. Remember that you could always support independent bookstores buying directly from their stores, or you can buy through bookshop.org, where 10% of your purchase is used to help other independent bookstores. I do get a kickback, but in general, I just want you to order books anywhere other than the evil empire known as Amazon. I know, I probably sound like I'm on a high horse, but really, support independent bookstores, support your authors. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, support your YouTubers, leave me a comment below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.